Hello, my
Yeah.
name is Sara. I'm from CasaEducation Agency. Today, I have the pleasure to invite Jack from Aberystwyth University, which is a British university in the UK. Jack will tell us more about the university, the programs offered, scholarships, entry requirements, and any information that can help students, their parents, and potential students as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sarah. And hello, everybody, to viewing this recording. My name's Jack. I'm from the international recruitment team here at Aberystwyth in the beautiful town located on the Welsh coast. I'll lean out the way so
Yeah.
you can see my background, the images that Sarah has there on some of our promotional materials. It's a really lovely scenic place in the UK. And I moved here just over 3 years ago, and obviously the location alongside the job was one of the really the biggest factors for me.
How far is
So
it from London? Because this is the first question that people will be
yeah,
asking.
a fair question. Yeah, so it's 2 train journeys to get to London Euston, and it can take just under 5 hours typically. So we will usually go from Aberystwyth town centre train station directly to Birmingham, which is a 3-hour train journey without any stops. And then from Birmingham, you can go down to London Euston on one of the fast trains there. So it's an easy route, really easy, but can take around 5 hours. Yes.
So I think that from the map here, we can notice that people can go either from London or from Manchester or Liverpool as well,
Yeah.
because there are international airports there.
Yeah. Same as Birmingham. We offer an airport pickup service for our international students each year from Birmingham. So we come over on the coach, some of us as staff members, some of our current international students, meet everybody at arrivals, give them a packed lunch, give them their room key and help them get moved in. So that's quite a nice welcome. But yeah, even though we're tucked away on the coast of the UK, it is still very accessible. The UK is a smaller place, so it's easy to get around by train.
And is the city student friendly?
Completely. This is a university town, so it's very different to some of the big cities that we've named, because Aber itself is a location that only has around 15 to 20,000 people living here. And with 7,000 students, so making up almost half of the population, this really is a university community, a university town, and it has that feel. So it's very welcoming, very friendly. A lot of our student testimonials from current students, alumni, they'll always talk about just how welcome they felt when they arrived here at Aber, because yeah, it's got that friendly appeal.
It's not boring, because it's not a boring city, because
No.
that's what some people think of small cities. Like they just think that London, Manchester, and Edinburgh are the biggest cities, and all the rest are small cities, which is not true, actually.
Yeah, no, I understand the perception from what people are seeing from not living in the UK. But one of ABBA's strengths is that this is a tourist destination. So if you speak with a lot of people who live around the UK, especially the Midlands sort of area near Birmingham, most of them have been on holidays to ABBA because it is beautiful. But what that really means for our students and people who live here is that tourism brings a lot of shops, cafes, restaurants, bars. There's more variety for people, so that does help with the fun element and there being more to do. But then also students can get some part-time employment as well, because we have those that larger range of places looking to use student staff. But no, not boring. And the location as well means that a lot of the UK, a lot of the home students, they'll stay here over the weekend because they might be a little bit further away from where their family might live in the UK. So the weekend activities in terms of student clubs, sports societies, everything taking place over the weekend, it is a buzzing student environment. Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to the university and the program it offers. Like, what are the most popular programs?
Yeah, so our most popular academic departments for international students to join us on would firstly be Aberystwyth Business School.
Of course.
So Yeah, this is a strong business school that has performed well in rankings in recent years. In the 2022 Guardian rankings, we were 4th in the UK for accounting and finance, and number 13 for management and marketing. So they have a wide range of programs across bachelor's level with foundation options to go into those courses as well. But then also on the bachelor side, we offer top-up programs in business and management and accounting and finance as well. So
just to explain for students or for people who do not know what a top-up is. So top-up is accessing the last year of a bachelor. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, just the final year of each of those courses. So if students have done the relevant level of study in those same academic areas, they might be able to apply for a top-up program to just do 1 year of the bachelor's here. But also we see many students joining for our postgraduate programs in Aberystwyth Business School. We have 6 different 1-year professional MBA courses. So they range from our general MBA, which students can apply to without any work experience. So many come directly onto that MBA from a bachelor's course. Then we have 5 specialized MBAs as well, such as engineering management, project management, international marketing, and they require at least 2 years of relevant work experience. So we do have good options there at both undergrad and postgraduate level. But the computer science department as well, that's a really big academic department for our international students. We specialize in research areas such as artificial intelligence and robotics. So we have the robotics labs and workshops here on campus, and there are many options at both study levels for those students.
Okay, so a wide range of programs from biochemistry and genetics, biosciences, computer science, economics, politics and international relations, physics, law, criminology, history, veterinary science, which is very rare in the UK.
At Wales's first vet centre. But just a fun fact on the international politics, whilst you mentioned it, we had the world's first international politics department as a university. So the very first globally. So we're very well known for that. That's one of our highest ranking schemes as well.
Excellent. So the bachelor programs in the UK are 3 years program, and the masters are 12 months. What are the entry requirements for students coming from Morocco, Moroccan baccalaureate students?
Yeah, for Moroccan baccalaureate students, depending on the score they have achieved in their baccalaureate, they could either go to direct entry for the 3-year program, like you say, or they might need to do that integrated foundation year to make it a 4-year program. But for students who have scored at least 14 out of 20 in their baccalaureate, they can be considered for direct entry into the 3-year program. For students who haven't quite reached that score, they are likely to require that integrated foundation year for a 4-year scheme.
And what about the English test?
For the English, it's the IELTS academic, and our business and computer science programs at undergraduate level, they require a 6.0 with at least 5.5 in each component. For any of our other bachelor's schemes, they require a 6.5 with at least 5.5 in each component. But if any students are viewing who might be studying the French baccalaureate, for example, a score of 12 out of 20, both in the English, that would meet English language requirements, and then on the academic side, a score of 12 out of 20 would allow direct entry into the 3-year course also.
All right. Do you accept students who have done foundation in other pathway providers? Can they progress to year 1 of the university?
Yes, we have progression agreements with many foundation providers already. So it might be something that is already mapped out and okay to progress. But if it's a foundation year from an institution that we're not partnered with, these are all assessed on a case-by-case basis. So it is worth inquiring if you already have a foundation year from somewhere, if you can join us for the 3-year program.
Right. And approximately how many hours per week do students study?
It's a good range. I'll speak to some of our students who are in the heavier science courses, maths, physics, who are looking at well above 20 hours per week of
Wow.
contact. But you know, they're in sort of 5-6 hours a day almost for many of their lectures and seminars. But some courses, typically the average might be around 12 to 14 contact hours
Which
per week.
means they have time to study at home and
Yes,
work. And
there's
how
the
many
expectation.
and how many hours per week are they allowed to work while studying?
Yes, during term time, students can work up to 20 hours part-time per week. So that's during the academic year. But if a student was here on a bachelor's and they wanted to stay over the summer breaks, and like I said, with Aber being a tourism location, the summer months get really busy here. So those part-time employment opportunities can increase around that time. Outside of term time, you can work more than 20 hours per week. There isn't the same restriction there. But that 20-hour limit is set because obviously your primary focus is on the studies. So you need to make sure you have enough time to complete your studies and the homework that is set for you.
Yeah. And do you accept students who got their bachelor's in Morocco and are interested to do masters in the UK?
Yes, we do. So for many of our postgraduate courses, the entry requirement is a score of 11 out of 20 in the bachelor's. Some of our more research intensive courses in the law department, in international politics, for example, they may request a score of at least 12 out of 20.
Okay, and what about English?
For the IELTS academic, it's a 6.0 again for all of the business and computer science schemes, and between a 6.5 up to some PhD programs would need a 7.5, for example. But on our webpage, the postgraduate English language entry requirements, it will show what IELTS score would be needed.
So it depends on the program, but it's starting from 6.5. All right. Does the university, does the university have any internal English language test that students can take instead of taking IELTS or TOEFL?
We do offer a password test, so we are partnered with password testing. Typically, that would be for if we have a group of students, like a class, or if it's something that your team is able to arrange, Sarah, and we have a number of students taking it at the same time, then that is possible. Yes.
All right. And what about the tuition fees? Like, what's the range of the tuition fees? Because I know that in the UK, first things I get when I tell people, okay, you have the option to study in the UK, to just go and look for Oxford and Cambridge. When they see the tuition fee, they just
yeah.
But I know that not only Oxford and Cambridge, that's not just Oxford and Cambridge are the only universities in the UK, but also Aberystwyth and other universities, and the tuition fees are very different.
Yeah.
What are the university tuition fees?
So our fees start at £16,520 per year, and those would be bachelor's courses in the arts and social sciences. So some of those courses we discussed, like business, international politics, and law, they would be factored into that £16,500 mark. Bachelor's fees for science programs then go up to £18,800 for other schemes, such as the physics, maths, computer science, geography. And at postgraduate level, they range from £17,500 to £19,000. But one of our sort of key attractions for international students is our unique scholarship, which I'm sure is a question you were going to get onto. I always tie it in with the tuition fees because whilst our tuition fees are the set amount, when I say a unique scholarship, we're the only UK university that offers the option of inclusive accommodation here on our campus. So most of our international students joining the university are paying £0 for their accommodation for the full.
So they just pay the tuition fees and they stay at the university accommodation at no cost, right?
Yes, inclusive. Yeah.
So if someone is going there for a 3 years bachelor, they will they don't have to pay anything for the accommodation for the 3 years?
We've been running this award now for 4 years, and so we've just had our first group of students who have been foundation through to the end of bachelor's program who haven't paid a penny for their accommodation the entire time they've been studying here.
And which type of accommodation is given to students?
Yeah, it's a group of accommodations on our campus called Court Mauer, and we have 500 rooms for our international students. And these are single private bedrooms. So there are no shared bedrooms here at Aber. So students would have their own bedroom with a single bed, a desk, a wardrobe, and a sink. And then with 8 or 9 other students, typically they're mostly other international students from around the globe. And they would share a kitchen and living area, and then also some shared bathroom spaces as well for those students. And if you're a bachelor's student, you would receive that accommodation for 40 weeks. So your full academic year, that would go from mid-September through to mid-June. And our bachelor students reapply for the accommodation each year during their first term. So you have your room that you've picked for first year, and then you'll be reminded to log into the accommodation booking portal again. And then you would book again for year 2, year 3, and so on. Postgraduate students, they would get the room for 50 weeks. So a longer license period there, because the teaching period is longer for the master's programs.
Excellent. And how far is it from the university campus?
Yeah, so one of our main advantages is we're a campus-based university, because a lot of people, they might hear no cost accommodation. Oh, that's probably going to be 30
2 hours.
minutes away. Yeah, it's going to be a bus. I'm going to have to get a taxi every day. It is within 5-minute walking distance from your bedroom to classes for the majority of our students. It's centrally located on campus. And I'm sure we'll be able to share some images as well soon of the campus and what that looks like, so you can see just how close it is. But for our campus-based students, we have just over 3,000 students living here on campus in total. And then the town of Aberystwyth, which is a 10 to 15-minute walk away from campus towards the seaside, of course, we have an additional 3,000 to 3,500 students living in town. So there's a nice split between town and campus, and that the road and the pathways between the two is just a steady stream all day long of students walking up and down, students living on campus, going down to the seaside, going to the big supermarkets, students living in town, coming up for their lectures. It's certainly very busy for that. Yes.
Well, that's very interesting. So if a student is interested to apply to for an undergraduate program, what is the process? And what are the documents they need, and when do they need to apply? Is there like a deadline? Do they need to wait until they get their final year results, or can they apply before?
You can apply before, because we do provide conditional offer letters for our students. So typically the process is that students find the course page that they're interested in, and I know they'll be working with yourself, Sarah, and there is an apply now button for students that takes them into a direct application portal. And that's where you select the course that you're interested in and where you can upload documents. So the documents students typically need are any qualifications that they have already studied, including certificates and transcripts if they have those available at that time. But if, like you say, they don't have their final certificates yet, an explanation of what they are studying, so that when our admissions team review your application, they can give you a conditional offer that will say you need to score 14 out of 20 in your baccalaureate to progress to first year entry with us. And then once
so they can also apply without having IELTS or TOEFL score.
Yes, that's the same, and that would be listed as a condition. Yes, you would. Another condition, you would also need to meet our English language requirements. They typically state the IELTS score, but we do accept TOEFL, Pearson, or other qualifications.
Okay.
But a personal statement is also needed from the students, so relevant to the course that you're looking to study, and usually relevant to Aberystwyth as well. Why have you selected this program, this university? And then that will be reviewed by our admissions team.
Do they also need the reference letters?
Reference letters currently, yes. We are taking reference letters from academics. There may be a change in that process, but for the time being, references are required.
All right.
You asked about cutoff date as well for when students might need to apply by, and usually this will be to towards the end of July is the latest time that students may want to submit an application. But there are advantages to submitting applications earlier. I know we just spoke about the inclusive accommodation, and one of the ways that students can book that, they need to have paid their tuition fee deposit. So they need to have received.
Which is, how much is the minimum deposit?
And then the deposit is £8,500 for the students. But the booking portal opens in mid-April for the accommodation. So that's when we start to see students who've paid their deposit log on and secure their room for the upcoming academic year, because it will get to a time later towards September where we might have run out of the inclusive rooms. And then there's a £2,000 discount that is allocated on the accommodation for any of our other accommodation blocks here on campus. So also on campus, also including all bills and the gym membership free of charge as well.
Okay.
So there are some good perks to the accommodation too. It's not just a room; it's your Wi-Fi, heating, water, electricity, and
proximity to the campus.
Oh, and right on campus, yes.
Yeah, and for and what is the process for students interested to apply for a postgrad program?
It's also the direct application portal online, and it will be similar with documents required. The only difference is that for students who are wanting to join one of those MBA programs that is requiring work experience, so one of the specialized MBAs, we'd like to see a CV or resume for those students. But otherwise, it's the academic certificates, transcripts, English language qualification, if you have that, a reference, and a copy of your passport are the required documents.
So the same deposit is requested.
Also, £8,500 for the deposit for postgraduate. And then we can typically be asked about instalment payment options for students after that. So after they've paid the £8,500, they can pay in up to 3 instalments during the rest of the academic year. One of those in first term, one in second term, and one in third term. So the tuition fee deposit payment of £8,500 is the only payment that's required pre-registration. And I know you work with many partners in universities that might have a first initial deposit, then a pre-CAS or a pre-registration. So there are multiple payments that need to be made before the student is here as a student. Ours is just that one-off payment that then allows them to book the accommodation as well for the upcoming year.
Okay, just to have an idea, like for someone who's joining a master program in September, if they get an offer like in the next weeks, they can pay the £8,500 deposit. When will be the next payment? In which month?
It would be invoiced for in October, and then students have that period of the first term to make payments there. So the majority of students would make that payment when they are invoiced at the beginning of October.
And then the following one will be
invoiced in January.
Okay.
Yes, and the middle of January that's invoiced, and then the final payment is invoiced in April.
April. Okay, good.
Yeah, so it's spread out throughout the academic year for them, but there are less financial pressures for the housing when students are here as well, because you don't have monthly rent payments. You're here living in your inclusive accommodation. Life is good.
Yeah. So anyone studying a master program, bachelor master program, and after finishing the program, they have the right to stay 2 years in the UK to look for a job.
Yeah.
Can you confirm the information?
That's an application required for the graduate route visa. And so we have a visa advice and support team here on campus, just in the office next to myself, who will not only support students like you do with the CasaEducation team on your visa application when leaving Morocco. They're there for guidance and support there. But then also when you're here as a student, if you have any visa questions or questions about work or how to apply for those 2 years as a graduate route visa, the team are here to guide you with that process. And then following that 2 years, you can apply for skilled worker visas, for example.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Jack, for answering all my questions. And hope to see many Moroccan students at Aberystwyth University in the next intakes.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for the chat. And thank you for everybody for listening. Hope to speak to you again about Aber and welcome you to our lovely seaside town and campus in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much. Speak very soon. Take care.
Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you.